Thank you, Scott. Okay. We'd like to open for public comments.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Paul Coffey, and I live at 14 Newmarket Drive here in Newmarket. And I'm just here today to ask the Budget Committee to reconsider vote on the warrant article for the sewer repairs. The town stands to lose a fair bit of the matching funds or loan forgiveness. We didn't take advantage of this. It's necessary to rectify the budget errors. Sean Davis does, his team has done just a tremendous job on the work to identify the things that are most needed repaired. This is a great opportunity to also, I'm on a wheel, so none of this impacts me, but I still think it's really important for the betterment of Newmarket today and into the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Does she need to say that again for the record?
If you want to, we could kind of hear you, but it's not quite. So if you want to go up there again, that's fine.
Yeah. That was a practice run.
That was a practice
run. This
run.
one's for real.
Is this thing on?
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Katana Conley, and I live at 14 Winslow Drive here in Newmarket. I am here this evening to encourage you to recommend for passage the bond article for the sewer upgrades. The water and sewer treatment team has done a tremendous job identifying the areas most in need of improvement, and this will be an important investment, including a really significant, loan forgiveness of over $600,000. It will ensure the viability of our sewer system today, and will support, the well-being and health of Newmarket residents into the future. So thank you very much, and hope you recommend passage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does everybody know Joe? Hi, Joe.
Joe Amatina, 13 Great Hill Drive, former Budget Committee member. Pretty much what she said. I would hope that you guys would reconsider this $1.75 million bond. You guys know Sean. Sean would not be coming to you with something, a proposal, unless it was absolutely necessary. This is something that's going to have to be done anyway at some point in time. I just hope that you guys will all reconsider and vote in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Patrick Reynolds, 14 Winslow Drive. Thank you all for serving on this committee. We appreciate you taking the time to do that. It's important work. I would also ask that you reconsider your vote and support the bond measure for the sewer improvements so we can leverage the $610,000 grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments for the public? Seeing none, we'll close the public comments section at 6:34. Okay. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is reconsideration of the $1,750,000 warrant article on sewer rehabilitation project, which was defeated at the January 8th, 2024 public hearing. I'd like to ask for a motion to take up this matter.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the Budget Committee's vote on the $1.75 million warrant article on the sewer system rehabilitation project.
Okay, motion made by Brian Hickey, second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Danielle Hanan. Any comments? Any you want to speak about this? Actually, we'll vote on it first, and then we'll have a discussion. So, all in favor?
No, we would vote. We would have the discussion first, then vote on it. That would be.
Discussion on the reconsideration, then discussion on the topic, a motion comes up.
Thank you.
Recommend or not recommend in the second time. All you're doing right now is make a motion to reconsider.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, does anybody have any comments they'd like to make at this time? Brian.
Yes, I would just
Brian Ward.
Yes, I'd just like to say we should reconsider this just because, as everyone has pointed out, there is a grant with it. If we try to do this through any other way, we lose money that ends up going out of somebody else's pocket. So it's better to do it this way, get, not pay a full price for this.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we do get to ask questions about this
We
after
do.
we vote on
So
this.
what'll happen is, once we vote to take up reconsideration, then what we'll do is we'll move into discussing of the warrant article itself. Okay, so I'm going to do this by roll call, and for two reasons. The first reason is I didn't take attendance beforehand, so we'll satisfy the attendance purpose as we go through the roll call. Okay, so Ned Carpenter is excused for tonight. Brian Hickey,
Here.
Richard Lissavoy,
Here,
here and yes.
yes.
Danielle Honan,
Here?
and yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Brian Rowley,
Here and yes.
here and yes, thank you. Scott Foster,
Yes.
and yes.
Yep.
Tim Choi,
Here and yes.
here and yes, thank you. Justin Lucer,
Yes.
here and yes. And the chair is here and yes. Dan Smith,
Here and yes.
here and yes, thank you. And Dan Ward,
Brian Ward?
Brian Ward, excuse
Yep.
me.
Here and yes.
Thank you. Just testing. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ask that we make a motion to what I'll do first is I'll read the article first, and I'll ask you to make a motion to recommend the article, okay? So Article 4 is to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $1,750,000.00 for the purpose of rehabilitating the sewer collection system. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $1,750,000 under and in compliance with the provisions of Municipal Finance Act, New Hampshire RSA 33:1 at sequel as amended, and to authorize the town council to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon. Further, to take such other actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town of Newmarket, New Hampshire. Additionally, to authorize the town council to apply for, receive, and expend federal and state grants which may at any time become available in accordance with RSA 31:95B, and also to apply for, receive, and expend money from any other government unit or private source that the town will receive up to $612,500, be used for purposes which the town council may legally appropriate money. It is anticipated the town will receive up to $612,500 in principal forgiveness from the State Revolving Fund Loan Program. A two-thirds vote is required. If passed, it is estimated that this article will have no impact on the tax rate, but will have an impact on the sewer rates recommended by the town council 7-0, and at the last meeting, it was not recommended by the Municipal Budget Committee. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend.
I make a motion to recommend Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,750,000 for the purpose of rehabilitating the sewer collection system. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $1,750,000 under and in compliance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act.
Okay, that motion was made by Brian Riley. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Seconded by Brian Ward. Okay, let's begin discussion on this matter. Would anyone like to begin? How about the presentation?
Yeah, so, good evening. This is a, those are no names, point on it. Sean Gray with the Director of Environmental Services behind me. I'm going to do the summary. The details is going to be Sean. But I want to go, there were some questions, and I asked the committee to email me so we can make sure we had some of the basic information that you wanted for this meeting. First, the number one thing was that was being asked is, well, what's the percentage of customers in town on town sewer? Well, it's not as easy to say, well, there's X number of houses that are X number of houses that are not. Because if you do the math up there, those two numbers added together does not equal the 3,610 units. So what this chart is showing that the non-sewer services for all the parcels in the community is at 44%, which is 1,510 parcels. But sewer service does reach 1,954 parcels in the community, 56%. But it's connected 3,610 units because multifamily homes and businesses and that situation. So it actually is a greater impact than just the number of parcels. Again, I apologize, but the map doesn't, it's somewhat up there. The green did not come out in the yellow. If you, on the copies in front of you, the green is areas that are currently served for the sewer, and yellow is potential. Correct. And red is also a high potential. As you can see, it's pretty much what we refer to as the urban core of the downtown, the highly dense populated area. The green lines there are the forced mains. Yeah, I apologize. And then there's some yellow ones that are actually the gravity feed mains. That's exactly what it sounds like. Either it's forced through by using pumps, or it's gravity, the sludge is moved through on those situations. Currently, the wastewater treatment plant has a capacity of 850,000 gallons per day. We are at about 470,000 gallons a day. So we have plenty of room to grow in that situation as well. And this is just the summary of what, the history and where we got there, how we got here. So the town received a $100,000 planning grant to evaluate its wastewater collector system in 2022. In 2023, we signed a contract and we used a camera to evaluate 50,000 linear feet of gravity sewers for inflow and infiltration. That is water that's coming in from cracks or seals that are not doing the job, and it's entering into the system. The evaluation found many defects, as I said, such as cracks, roots, separated joints, grease deposits, just to say a few. They measured approximately 92,160 gallons a day of main line, which is the pipe infiltration and reflow. So 92,160 gallons of basically water going into the system that we're having to treat, which we shouldn't be having to be better. We have to get these pipes fixed. There's an additional 12,400 gallons per day of manhole infiltration inflow. In the summer of 2023, the town found out we could apply for a $1.75 million loan from the state. As we mentioned, $612,000 of loan forgiveness, and the loan rate is 2.8%. The funds would only be used to fix the worst areas of the system, not the entire system. That's the general overview. Am I missing anything?
Okay, thank you. Who'd like to start? Dan Smith.
So out of that 92,000 a day of, that's just tramp water, rainwater basically getting into the system that shouldn't be. How much of that can we fix for 1.75 million?
Keep in mind, those are snapshots in time, so it's very difficult. Looking at what I've looked at is over the past 7 years since we put the plan online, our lowest flow going through the plant is 150 million in a year. Our average, however, over the past 7 years is 165 million. I'm comfortable with saying that we should be down around that 150 million regularly. And that's where our average should be, and that's about 15 million gallons a year. That's well over 30 million gallons a year. Do I think we may be able to do better? You're never going to get it all, but I think we can get a lot of it. But it's very difficult, because that's a snapshot in time. You know, sometimes you have a lot of rain, sometimes you have a lot of dry weather, so it's difficult. Being that it's at that 15 million gallons a year, if we capture that, that's pretty substantial at the wastewater treatment plant and at Creighton Street pumping station, and if it has to come to other pumping stations. So there is a significant savings on that.
It's about 10%. 15 million on 150.
Yeah, I mean, on that, it's 50% if you just talk the inflow itself.
Just have a couple of questions. So just so I'm clear, I understand the 600,000, but it's still a $1.1 million investment on the part of the ratepayers, right?
Just on the sewer users, yeah.
Right.
I want to make sure it's just the sewer users that this affects.
Right. So any idea of what the impact on the ratepayer would be for this?
And actually, it's in my report. I estimated because we would see our first payment in fiscal year 26, because we're in fiscal year 24, because the work would be done in fiscal year 25, and then all first payments are due through this loan program 1 year after you complete the project. And I estimated the budget out, because I do 5-year budgets, and I estimated the budget to be with the 90,000 principal and interest payment to be just under 2.9 million, and I have our revenues in 25 estimated, if our septage and everything stays the same, to be at 2.9 million. So I'm pretty much seeing no impact, but you know, it all depends on how your revenues and expenses go.
So if I got that, then if you're, you know,
I'm not, if everything stays the same, I'm not seeing any.
yeah, you could see that this would be minimal, possibly, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was part of the CIP this year. You do an incredibly good job of laying out a 7-year program. I think you do the best job of anybody. I'm just trying to understand why something like this wouldn't have been incorporated into that.
So what happened was, it's just the way everything laid out. We actually put this application in June of this past year. We actually received notification that we were number 5 and we're going to receive money in July. So it was to the point where we weren't going to put it in because we had the money all set aside for it. The main plan, what was actually supposed to happen, we got all our work done at the wastewater treatment plant. Everyone knows we've been concentrating on that for a long time because it was permit driven. The goal was to get this evaluation done and then look at the entire system and look at the pumping stations and lay out a big plan. Even at that point, it would have been very difficult in that short time, because if you actually look at it, we have 26 miles of sewer mains, we have 3 miles of force mains, and if you actually look at it, we did 10 miles of gravity mains, and all those mains are actually pre-1980. Some of them actually go back to 1890. So it's very difficult to actually get all that stuff done within a month or two. But this is the way I look at what this is, it's one, this is the worst of the worst. Do we need to get it done? Yes. Is it good for the sewer users? Yes. Is it going to minimally impact the sewer users? Yes. And on the part, you're getting $600,000 grant, which is good for the sewer users.
And I think it's a good thing to highlight that Sean said we're number 5 and what that means. It's a competitive grant to the revolving fund. So we were 5th on the list. If we say no, then we get bumped back to the end of the list and the next round group gets pushed up.
So there was 87 applications. 12 got picked, and the top 12 got funded. We were number 5. So.
And again, not to be a stickler on this, but you know, there's a 7-year plan in here. You recommended in your budget $748,000 contribution to the capital reserve for this budget period. So wouldn't we have anticipated over that 7 years we're going to have to do some of this anyhow?
I think the bottom line is the way I look at where we're at now. We have an opportunity to fix something on somebody else's dime that has to get done. Yes, there is going to have to be a plan done, and I'll be working on that plan. But this is something that is, we have to pivot a lot of times, and when the money comes available, and it's good to the town, and to make it happen, because it's good for the sewer users.
Thank you.
So the timing of it all happening is what, the trigger, the opportunity,
Yes,
change of the dynamic.
yes.
Yeah.
And to be honest, any CIP program that we have is that way. If all of a sudden we found out, and hopefully we don't have a situation like ARPA or Tiger funds again, that if the feds come in and say, well, we all of a sudden have a bunch of money, we need shovel-ready projects, and we do have something that, but it may have been lower on the run, we'll bump it up because this fund's available. That's a lot of things we've been doing, is trying to get things shovel-ready. Because I've seen communities in the past, with more with Tiger than ARPA. The Tiger was when we had the collapse in '08, when they pumped the funds to the municipalities. A lot of communities couldn't use it because they didn't have shovel-ready projects. So we just want to make sure we have that in there.
To be honest, I was surprised we got the money. I was surprised we hired them. Shocked.
For the stenographer's benefit, the first speaker was Richard Savoy, the second speaker was Brian Hickey. So the 2017 20-year water and wastewater system build-out study actually spent a fair amount of time discussing many different issues, but there are 3 specific paragraphs where they spoke about this particular issue, and brought up the issue, the points that infiltration and inflow was a significant stress on the system, and that those areas needed to be addressed. So this is just carrying on with that identification of the problem. So I'm sort of saying this for everyone's benefit, that Sean and his team were aware of this issue, but discovery and the analysis and identifying where the problems are obviously takes time and takes funding.
The pipes are underground. That's the biggest problem. You can't just walk out and identify and look at them. In fact, doing this evaluation, we found some sewer lines where they went, we didn't have no idea. And then we found some other areas where there just weren't the sewer lines where the maps were drawn. So,
And just for the public, for the committee, that is common with many municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know where they were buried in 1890. And they'll just say, oh, it could have been that area next to the tree between the house, which neither of those things are there any longer.
and it's not to say that we haven't been fixing spots. We have been going out and doing manhole digging out. We have been doing it here when we find it. But this was a major evaluation.
So this is Brian Rowley, pardon me, from stenographer, but so the nature of this work then is going to range from manhole remediation to possibly replacing whole main lines and everything. And what's kind of the anticipated lifetime of some of these changes? I mean, if they're running from 1890 till today, I imagine we can mostly consider the repairs final for our lifetime at least. Is that accurate?
I think a bunch of them will be, because some of them is you're going to be basically lining them, which, you go in one manhole and you go in another manhole and you put in a resin that goes around the inside of the pipe. And some of them are, a lot of them that I know of are connections from services connecting to the mains. Something settled or something and come apart. So there's a whole myriad of issues out there.
So I believe what you mentioned earlier is that what this 1.7 million is going to be addressing the most significant problems. It's not going to be addressing all of them.
No, it is not. So ideally, there is a grading system of 1 through 5. The 1 being in good condition, 5 being in the worst. This is going to take care of all the 5s. And if there's any money left over, we'll try to address as many 3s as we can. But
So it's going to take care of the 4s and 5s, so you'll be left with the 1, 2, 3s.
Correct.
Okay. No? Anybody else? Dan?
I guess just money-wise, so I'm thinking about this the right way, about just electricity and chemicals, about what does it cost us to treat a gallon of wastewater?
We're working on that. I will definitely say that we're probably gonna see about 7,000, on average, a $7,000 reduction in Creighton Street, which handles all the wastewater before it gets to the plant. And it could be, depending on rainy years or whatever, we could, I've got an estimate of about $20,000 coming through the wastewater plant.
All right, and debt service on this, if we get the 2.8% loan,
It's
looks,
gonna be about $90,000.
all right, so, I mean, not one for one, but not
It would be
obscenely
one.
out of line. Okay.
Okay.
I do want to just take this opportunity to thank the committee for reconsideration. That's all. It's a big ask for the committee. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the explanation and thanks for all the detail.
I offer everybody, anybody wants a tour of the wastewater facility or the system or the water system, just reach out to us and we'll gladly show it off.
We'll be doing that in April and May. Yeah, with all the new members.
It's probably better this time of year than this time. You don't want to get it when it's too hot. either.
We'll make it short, we'll go there now.
You know?
Okay. So, shall we proceed with a vote on this motion? Okay. For me?
I'll make a motion to vote.
Yeah, okay. So, let's take it by roll call again. Brian?
1 of 3. Yes.
Yes, thank you. You want me to turn around and go the other direction, like you did last time?
Get the other
Okay, Rich?
Yes.
Thank you. Danielle, please?
Yes.
Brian Rowley?
Yes.
Scott Foster?
Yes.
Tim Chow?
Yes.
Justin Lucer?
Yes.
Dan Smith?
Yes.
Brian Ward?
Yes.
Not to be confused with Dan Ward. And the chair votes yes. Thank you. Okay. You got yourself a warrant. Okay.
You're printing out the warrant? You got my finance person?
Yeah. You've got the documents for us to sign?
That's what he's doing right now. He's going to have he has to make one change.
Okay.
Send it in to the system. It's going to print out and he'll have it to you within a
Okay.
few minutes.
So we have a few other things to take
Good.
care of before we get to that. Okay, all right, thank you very much. All right, next item is the minutes from last week. We sent them around. Are there any comments on the minutes? No comments? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as provided?
Motion to accept.
Okay, motion made by Brian Rowley, seconded by Brian Hickey. All in
Chris?
favor?
Chris,
Aye.
I think I'm going to need you to split them between the 11th and the 18th, because I was here for one of those and not for the other. At least if we're doing both of the
I think we
ones
took
that you
care of
emailed
the,
out.
for the meeting of the 18th, we had a number of corrections that were made at the last meeting, and we accepted them with the corrections.
And you also emailed out the 11th. I wasn't, Gary covered December the 11th for me.
The 11th.
If that's part of what we're approving.
Sorry, my battery's a little low.
No, is this just for December the 18th, or is
It's
this
just for the
also
8th.
December the 11th?
No, this is January 8th.
January 8th, okay.
Excuse me.
I'm
Did I
sorry,
say
good.
December 8th? My apologies. January the 8th, our last meeting.
All right.
Okay?
Yep.
Any other questions on that? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes for January the 8th? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay. So we have 4 seats that are up for election. Rich Lissavoy's seat, Brian Rowley's seat, Tim Choi's seat, and Justin Lucer's seat. The sign-up period is January 24th. Friday until Wednesday, January 24th, until Friday, February 2nd. And then the seats are divided up, 3 are 3-year seats, and 1 is a 2-year seat. Okay? So when you go and see the town clerk, you'll just have to tell them which one you want to sign up for. Okay, and then the calendar of events, February 3rd is the deliberative session. I'll be in attendance. Any other member who would like to be in attendance, that would be great. Keep me company. Okay, and if there's a snow day on the 3rd, February 10th is the snow day. Election day is March 12th. And then after the election day, April 1st is when you can come in and be sworn in. Okay? That's all the announcements. So when they get back, we'll have the documents to sign, and then we can all fill. But we can take a motion to adjourn now.
So moved.
So moved. Okay, Scott Foster, motion, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Brian Ward, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much.